No. No, not muted. Well, intentionally muted. Yes. Accidentally muted? No. That's what I should say. Welcome to part 2 of today's stream. I took my about 3.5 hours or so break in between the first stuff I was doing today, and now I'm back. And to see the rest of Stanley Parable, maybe, perhaps? Question mark. I think that's the goal. Or I should say, we're gonna find what's in behind that new content door that we've passed by now several times. What could it hide? What could be in there? What could be behind the door? We must find out. It's asking me for the time again. It is currently... What time did I start? Is this the exact same time I started the game yesterday to 9:34 or 9:33? 9:34? That sounds familiar, and it feels like I just said this yesterday. Did I start Stanley Parable at 9:34 yesterday as well? Oh, also not AM. God dang it. I wish it was the morning still. Wait, hold on a second. Last time you also said the time was exactly 9:34 p.m. Oh shit. What? This is a thing? No way. What is the odds? What? What? Okay, wait a sec. This is scaring me. Wait, did I really start at exactly 9:34 last time? And I didn't even, see, now here's the thing. Anyone who potentially watches this is going to think that I did this on purpose somehow, or I knew that something like this was going to happen. But that's not the case. I just got done eating, and then I was going to stream, but then I had to finish. I was watching a YouTube video, and I wanted to see the end of it before I came online. And then I literally just hit go live, and now I'm here. I'm a little afraid. I also agree. This is very strange. It says, how is it even... This is weird. Because here's the thing. If I'm going to be 100% honest, I didn't know it was going to ask me for the time again. I thought that was something it only did the first time, or it would have just used the console's, inner clock, you know? I was almost about to say it's weird that it's asking me a second time when it has access to the console's time, which is on the internet. You know what I mean? The odds are, let me see. 1440 to 1. Either you're messing with me, or this is an incredible coincidence. And as I was saying, when I started to input 9:34, I remember pointing that out yesterday and being like, "Oh, it's 9:34," and so it immediately reminded me. That is so strange. Is 9:34 the exact moment in the day when you decide it's time to play video games? I guess. But not really. I was on earlier today. 9:34 p.m. rolls around and wahoo, video game time. Or is it specifically the time at which you like to play the Stanley Parable? Regardless of the specifics, it's an incredible example of efficient or effective scheduling. Excuse me, I'm getting a little bit lost in the weeds here. Go on, get out of here and just play the game already. That's so weird. Okay, so now we've seen what it says when you pick the same exact time. What happens if you pick a different time? Does it say anything? But I'm looking forward to seeing you come again at 9:34 p.m. Please come back soon. I don't think I could do this a third time unless I intentionally did it. The odds would be even more incredible. And the thing was, yesterday, when it was asking me what time it was, I don't even think it did anything that I know of, because I kept looking at the clocks, and they didn't seem like they were corresponding with my time, so... I don't know. I don't know. Strange.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
I won't
Stanley
skip this.
worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending,
Yeah, I guess I'm just
Stanley
curious
relished
why
every
it even
moment
asks
of
for the time in the first place.
as though he had been made
But
exactly for this job.
I guess for the random chance that you
Was happy.
have
And
the
then
exact
one
same
day,
time.
something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to
Alright, so we had
follow.
some weird
No
happenings
one had showed
yesterday.
up to give him instructions,
I'm hoping for
call a
more.
meeting,
I'm hoping for
or
more.
even
I want to
say
see more out of
bye.
this game. I want to...
Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Nice. The last ending we got last night, I was shocked by. I was actually shocked, maybe not the right word. I was upset. In your dialogue, you got an explanation for why. Interesting. Well, maybe I'll see that if I end up playing this a third time. Who can say? I have no idea how.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Same order of things that I walk around in. Okay, we're going into the new content door.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Uh-oh. I'm taken into the abyss again.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Thanks.
As you may
You're
know,
welcome.
the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Me too.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
I'll bring you that content.
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Oh no. Hey, they included a jump in the Ultra Deluxe version. I only have 24 more jumps left. I better savor them while I got them. Well, I guess that's what the Ultra Deluxe gets you. 36 more jumps from 0.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And
Yep.
oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Oh.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this?
Test trophy description. Replace this. Play the Stanley Parable for the entire duration of a Tuesday. Eight. Click on door 435 times. Don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years.
I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Uh-oh. It's broken. We've broken it.
come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Okay.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
The fuck? Whoa. Oh, because the vent. I gotcha. I was gonna say the vents looked blocky, kind of like for some reason this reminded me of like crawling around in like a Minecraft tunnel. I don't know.
I call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Oh, I can't go back in. It's dark and blocked off.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Pressurized gas. It's a BAFTA. Yeah. It's it's a BAFTA with The Last of Us, Bruce Straley, and Neil Druckmann's name taped over with Stanley Parable. That's very good. Very good. That actually makes me really laugh. Our first kiss, my first car, the release of the Stanley Parable in 2013. 2013, nice. This is very good. This is a good room. See, I do think this meant that was that the screen for the demo that I played long ago? Probably. Alpha test. This is very good. Nominee for debut game and story. Call to show uneven effort to enroll poor. but a small creature owns the other half. It's very good. It's all very good.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them.
Skyrim, Persona 3, you know.
Nothing. It's no games
It was
at
them all.
It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
That's interesting. A Sterling interview got into this. Pretty good. Should I read it? How do you review a game like the Stanley Parable? To describe any one part of it is to risk its ruination. To detail what it has to say about game design, the illusion of choice, and the psychology of the gamer, is to tell you too much. Comparisons, too, are going to be woefully inadequate. Perhaps its closest cousin would be Dear Esther, but where Dear Esther wastes the form of interactive entertainment, Stanley Parable uses then subverts it. Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Even so, holding the game to the standards of any other title is simply not going to be correct. So, how do you review what has become known as the Stanley Parable HD, full-scale reimagining of one of the most intriguing mods available online? How do you discuss it, analyze it, and recommend it? It's quite simple. You don't. Nice. Man, 2013 was just, it's very cliche to say, but 2013, even 9 years ago in game development and like game space coming out and stuff, it was just a much different time. The medium in the past 9 years has just been like drastically increased in scope of what's considered a game and things people can do inside the space. You know? Person of the year. It's me. Maintenance. Oh. Can't get into the maintenance. Because that was a door. People play games because of what they can do inside them, and your game is very good at letting them know they can't do anything. Literally anything.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
I have always been someone who wants to go the wrong way first in games. Me too. When I sense that a game is trying to usher me down a particular path to get me to run from left to right or maybe a charge straight ahead, I need to satisfy my instinct to go against the grain, to explore, to see what the designers have put back the other way. Sometimes I find a one-up or collectible stashed away to reward me for my intrepid behavior, but other times my explorations are rewarded only by crushing disappointment of running up against an invisible wall. Whatever I find or don't find, my action is a manifestation of my desire to exert some independence, to make my own choices within a system that severely limits my options and encourages certain specific behaviors. The Stanley Parable feels alive in its responsiveness to your choices and its desire to subvert your expectations, keep you on your toes. Think of the Stanley Parable as a sort of video game analog for Charlie Kaufman and Spike Jonze's brilliant film adaptation, which gently mocked the ways in which so many films manipulate audiences with formulaic plot twists, situations in which characters learn huge life lessons, while simultaneously moving me with its formulaic plot twists, situations in which characters learned huge life lessons. Stanley Parable was both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and in other systems too, like other workplaces and our families. Excuse me, car? And a game that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. Going the wrong way has never felt so good. It's Carolyn Pettit. Well, now where do I go? Oh, did the doors open back up?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
Uh-oh.
What's this? What's down here?
Uh-oh.
Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games.
Oh
I
no.
haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's being collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
No, I'm sure they weren't just the scum of the earth. Here we go.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Congrats to these people who get into the game because they left a bad review way back when.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Cookie 9.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until
What
the
if I
end
just never
of
hit it?
time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, until 245. But the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all
Did it
until
loop
the
there?
end of time, at which time everything all at once. So now you see, blah 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 blah. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on how exactly pressurized gas works. Perhaps that would have been a smart thing to check on before I went on about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is who runs pressurized gas will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with pressurized gas altering this particular review so that it reads as something more benefit. From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
Uh-oh.
I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks? I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less...
Sorry, narrator.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed.
He's gonna make me
I
press
could
it again.
do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity. For
I
what
feel bad for
now
doing it.
know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will.
Oh, is the narrator dead? Who killed him? Has exponential time gotten to him? Uh-oh. No, this scares me.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes!
Man, it's a good point.
Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in.
It's
It
all
seems
cliche
that
and
we
all,
are
but it's a
people
very
living
good
in
point.
such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse.
Almost started sounding like a
They're
drill
the
tweet
ones
there.
who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think, to feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves that they couldn't help but leave a negative. the end, is never 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 the end, is never
We got a
the
leak.
end, is never the 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 end, is never
Never
the
the
end,
end, is never the 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 end,
is never the end, is never the end, is never.
Uh-oh. The leaking is getting worse. Uh-oh. Is this gonna be our way out somehow? Whoa. Oh, God. Jesus. Oh. Foliage. Uh-oh. I don't like this. Get me out of here. Don't like that either. Uh-oh. Whoa. Oh. Oh. I don't think the button works anymore. It's like... I was like, why are we tilting? Oh. 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 What?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content. Oh. How could I resist?
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
2? New game dropped.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
For 2.7. It's very good.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
The color red. Leverage holistic value. 1 to 2. You're very good. Look at the final slideshows. Thanks for attending my meeting with a clip art thing. Oh, God.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham Asylum 2, City, Divinity Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar, Dark Souls 2. It's true. The prequel to the Stanley Parable 2 is the sequel to the Stanley Parable is the prequel. Stanley Parable 2 is a sequel to the Stanley Parable is the prequel to the Stanley Parable 2 is the sequel. There's just a 2 back there.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
I saw the new content. Everyone who watches this gets that new shirt. This t-shirt is the best new feature. A whole new office. Oh. The baby's. Oh no. Where's that noise? Something in the game is making a noise. The new updated ray traced, more of the same, but in a good way, sequel.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
It's awesome. Everyone's got one. Alright, place your bets. What is it going to say when I press it?
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right
Oh,
now,
damn
the
it.
button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is.
Jim.
Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Yeah, okay.
Just play along. I promise
I'm
you'll
Jim now.
love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim,
I'm Jim.
falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim, watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
Yes.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
I'm Jim.
Jim. Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again. Jim. Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
The Jim button.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Oh, a jump circle. Reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
I need to put the bucket back. Nope. I'm gonna just carry the bucket, I guess.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
I like the colors on this one, but Get Well Someday is good.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Well, fuck me, I guess. Fuck you, Stanley. Cut out.
Actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Free trophy. Free trophy. How could I resist? Pull the lever, receive your new trophy, no more steps.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken.
Shit.
I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Give it to me. Damn it. Give it. Give me it. I'm cheated.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Collectibles. Infinite hole. Is this infinite hole? Science.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Part of me feels like I should not go into this. I wonder what these features are like in a console which doesn't have achievements like the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, that's a good question. The Switch doesn't have built-in achievements at all. I would imagine there's got to be some small little workaround or some kind of smart, clever thing about it. Oh, there you go.
See, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated
no.
the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Every pause button is a Roman numeral 2.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time?
Yes.
I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Yeah, I mean, for science, now we have to know.
There it is.
Oh.
The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity. Well, how is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Uh-oh.
Is the
I was hitting it.
teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It
I
was
can't get up.
working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity.
No, 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 no. What's that noise? Whoa. No.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up this space of mine. My head's stronger. Now you're no longer.
zoals nu geweest, die waren dat gespeeld verweerd. Nou hè, die is de mout dus een eerste bed in de zulp schikken echt wat met er als het serpes in de zo'n manier veel was er heel erg maar heel lezen.
Someone cut this bit out and then rewind it or play it backwards to see what it's saying. Ah! Ah! Oh. No! Oh, oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, my God. The fuck? I just want to stay on this screen. I'll just stay on this screen for the next couple hours. Look at him. Oh my God.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't let that stay, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
Oh no, is it gonna happen again? Oh.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Jump circle this map, free trophy, merch, settings world champion we haven't seen yet. We haven't done jump circle. Epilogue we haven't done yet. Collectibles we haven't seen. Yeah. am there.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Nice. You found it. Collect them all? I don't know.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic. You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece.
Damn it.
Then.
Give me more. God. A ripoff. Settings world champion, yeah. We haven't seen that. I think that's back here. Nope. I don't know how to read maps. There we go. Do I need to get the trophy to do that? Didn't it say to just have it hit every number? I can do this. Psh. If I read the trophy right. You'd be a good cartographer? Probably. Better luck than I would. Oh no, I gotta get these all to 0. Oh no. Watch this not even do the thing I need it to do. Now it's just me. It's just me and my voice. No game audio to listen to. Nothing to distract you. Should test out my new ASMR skills. This is me sucking on a Ricola. So that I don't cough during stream. Doesn't that sound great? I should start a Patreon for that. Maybe get a total of $2. Have to start selling feet pics. Anyone want to see my feet for some money? I can do feet and ASMR. Side note, I don't get how anyone is into like feet.
Story of a man named Stanley.
I think feet are disgusting. Wait, that's gotta be a mall, right? What? Was that not the thing? Set all site to all available numbers. Did I not do that? Do I have to like back out and do that? Oh no. Oh God. What's happening?
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
You heard Jim in the game. I'm really curious. I gotta look it up. I gotta look up the settings trophy. Settings. Trophy. Here we go. I gotta make sure I don't like somehow. Here we go. Pause the game and go to settings menu. For every option in the menu that has a number slider, go through and set the sliders to every possible number. In other words, go to each slider, move them all the way left, and then tap through each number in turn. Oh, there's hidden numbers. Like on, here it says, turn on subtitles. Well, I have that. I also need to do the same for the audio sliders. Well, yeah. If it refuses to pop, try changing the language and then going through all the sliders again. Oh. 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 Oh no. Oh, here we go. Oh, there's a slider in the Is this worth it? Oh no, it still didn't work. D- I'm gonna switch up language. Okay. Well, let's do it in, this is Russian, yeah? This is gonna be just a massive waste of time if it doesn't pop after this. This is gonna be truly an upsetting point in the stream. And for my life, honestly. This is what I get for that terrible ASMR bit I was doing. It's punishment. Oh, the game, like, almost felt like it was crashing there for a sec. The game wasn't moving. That was scary. Oh my god, it keeps like freezing up. Look at this. Come on. Don't cry. Oh my god. The game is resisting. The game is like, we're not gonna, over our dead body, am I gonna give you this trophy? Oh no. I skipped some numbers on accident. Oh, there's like some kind of flying bug in my apartment, attracted to the lights. A bug in my apartment, how dare it? There isn't like a secret thing in here, is there? Oh no. It's doing it again.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Oh, why does it keep doing this? Why does it get hung up? Come on. Come on. I don't know. There's nothing I can do. Truly. Truly upsetting waste of everyone's time, you know? Oh well. You know what? We'll just say fuck it. This map free trophy button. Yes, merch settings. Stanley Parable. Insurance bucket, office decorations, epilogue, collectibles, exit. Where's the exit? E. Exit. I'm there. I'm looking at the wall. Is it like back? Back. That's infinite hole is back there. Creature. Yes, new collectibles. Jump circle. Exit. Exit. This is not exit. This decidedly not don't know how to follow any instructions. Exit here. Exit. Exit there. Oh, doy. Oh God. I swear I'm not a dum-dum.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Honestly, no. You know what? I'm gonna look up. What is the name of that door? I need to see this. I can't not see something. We can't not. What is this, even the trophy called? Let me see. Settings World Champion. Oh, I don't know how to spell. Settings World Champion door. Don't want to spoil myself with anything. Okay, I have to get that trophy. I can't. Okay, let's see. Field of view, camera sensitivity. Turn the size and this too, maybe. Okay. Oh! Oh! I should stop making noises like that. Thank you. What website did I just check that helped that out there? What is this? XP.com. Thanks, guys. Where's the stairs? They're hidden.
I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion trophy. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the settings menu. There's nothing
It's
you
fitting
haven't
for me.
seen. So just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bubmanXIV. What exactly is bubmanXIV? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but I know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider and that it'll be accessible from the settings menu. We'll sort out the rest of the details later. I hope you're looking forward to trying out every level of bubmanXIV in the Stanley Parable 2.
This is top quality meme right here. This room, it was made for me. Honestly, for the type of person who first starts the game and then goes into all the settings, has to see what my settings and menus are. It is a room for me. I love it. I'm glad I figured out how to do it. It just felt wrong not just being able to see what was in that room. No screenshots, it says. No stream recordings either. I'm gonna have to turn the... Gonna have to go to black screen. Don't worry. Oh, shit, now I can't hear it. Damn it.
Exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but
Joke sucked.
I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean...
Someone in the audience is like,
potential here, right?
oh.
It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
I just gotta watch the title screen now, right? Oh, it might just repeat here. Possibly, maybe.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee
Balloons.
number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
Happy
missed a
12th
memo.
birthday.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
There's the bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Oh no, the new content door's gone.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Back
Oh,
in the
Stanley, can you
back in the
feel it?
broom closet we
The
go.
broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is
I
trying to
can't
say
have my
here.
bucket
It's
at all.
supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket.
My
this
bucket.
is your companion
My
and
companion.
lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide
Fuck you,
variety
broom
of
closet.
experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Fuck you.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go.
Oh,
There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a set coming to a staircase. Stanley and the bucket
what?
walked upstairs to the boss's office.
oh, we slapped a second sticker.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad was 2845.
Dang it, I was close.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Bucket. Oh, hey.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines.
Nice.
Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful figurine.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
What happens if I just...
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. But of course, Stanley and the bucket thought better of it and realized they simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
The bucket's truly concerned.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good.
Yeah, I would.
Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Me and Mr. Bucket. Mr. Bucket, put the balls in my mouth, Mr. Bucket. Mr. Bucket.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and to...
Uh-oh.
What? Wait. What was happening?
No, 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 no.
Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
No!
The facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket.
How
Needed
dare
the
this
soothing
game.
warmth of the bucket. Would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Taking the bucket with me again.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Oh, this is spooky. There will be a reward for finding them all? What? Stairs, something to do with stairs. A large room, lots of boxes. Some were both red and blue. A private but smelly place for an important person. That would be the bathroom of the boss, right? A large room, lots of boxes.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Ha!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands?
Mini
Stanley
stands.
figs. What about Stanlerines? Yes,
That one's
I think
bad.
I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast. Money crisp.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Well, I guess I gotta find all the Stanley figurines now, right? Where else? Those other clues. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I've got to have seen most of this game at this point, right? Or most of the
Stanley
areas,
and the bucket
right?
walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Death. Death.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest.
This is different.
It was a glorious bucket to behold.
The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye, continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. Photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. I'm just going to say I'm pretty sure this is more than 25. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains, no one can control a bucket. This bucket is depicted as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life. having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Presented without commentary, the stress bucket. Cave drawing. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical use of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there's yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good. Oh. Oh. I thought I was gonna fall. I was like ready for it to...
There is something we can do. Something we can do together,
Infinite falling
you and
again.
I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I like work. I just hate my boss.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Gotta try to find at least one more figurine.
Stanley
right?
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
I see. Look. Oh. 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 I was just about to say, this has many boxes. Oh. Careful. Careful. Careful.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me. But Stanley feared
Oh,
that any path he walked
I thought I wouldn't
might
die
lead
then,
to the
because I was
separation of
falling
himself and the bucket,
less.
his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe at least one more stream of this game then? Yeah, I think is due. The sequel is now paused. We can do this, you know, at least one more. We'll find the, I guess, what, last 2 figurines? That's at least the thing that I can see that myself do. I assume I have to take other paths. And I'll, of course, grab the bucket to go with me. And then at the very least, then I'll get maybe another time to input the time that I started the game. I would assume it would probably be a different time than 9 whatever. And so maybe I'll get some kind of different dialogue there as well, but yeah. I don't want to go too late tonight, especially because I was playing a bunch earlier today too, so we'll boot this up at least one more time here in the next week or so, sometime during next week, and see if we can get the final 2 if we can find the final 2 figurines. I'll have to relook at where the hints are, because I'm going to try to find those without looking it up or anything, so we'll see. We'll see. As always, thank you so much for watching. It is always appreciated. Coming on adventures with me. Joining me for adventures. With or without buckets. Tomorrow is Sunday. I think I should be on at some point tomorrow. I don't know how much time or at what time I'm willing to commit, because I need to do other things as well this weekend. So, but I imagine I should be on sometime. So, doing something. Probably not more Stanley Parable. We'll probably wait till middle of next week or so. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Other than that, have a great rest of your Saturday. Have a great Sunday as well. Enjoy the rest of the weekend here. And I will catch you another time. Bye. ASMR and feed.